Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. Today is April 15th by me. It's a Wednesday. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're finding little bits of gratitude throughout the day. So if this is your first time joining in, this is my Wake and Stretch series every morning in April. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up for you, show up for me, show up for us. Because sometimes you need to be accountable. At least I think sometimes I need to be accountable to someone or something. And in this case, it's you guys. So I am grateful for that. And as far as today's practice goes, I'm gonna try to move today. I've put something across the door to maybe keep Zeus out. I have no idea if it's gonna work or not, but we will find out. I don't know again what's gonna happen once I get onto the mat. This is an intuitive practice, so I follow my intuition to see what's gonna happen. I'm hoping to be a little bit active, but we'll find out as I get on the mat. I have no idea. You are welcome to join me. I will give a little bit of narration as I go through, but it's not a full-on teaching thing for me, because I'm practicing as well. I'm trying to connect with my breath, and talking sometimes doesn't allow me to do that as deeply as I would like. So I think that's all I gotta say for now. So I'm gonna jump on the mat. I'm going to start in a nice child's pose. Easing into that. Letting the breath come as it does. So if I need a deep breath, I'll take a deep breath. I think I'll take one more nice deep breath here. I'm going to come up into tabletop and move through a few cows and cats. Nice and gentle movement through the spine. I'm not trying to force anything, just nice gentle movement. Coming back to neutral, I'm going to extend the right leg back, tucking the toe and giving a gentle press back. Just to get a stretch through the calf, the Achilles tendon behind the knee. And gently rocking forward and backward, with the breath, of course. Inhaling as I come forward, shoulders hover over the fingertips, and then exhaling, pressing back. Coming back to neutral, lifting up the back leg just an inch or two, and then exhaling, stepping it through, and find a nice low lunge here. Just chilling out, relaxing in my low lunge as the hips start to open. If you can see here, I'm on my fists. I don't always like to have a folded wrist. Sometimes it's just uncomfortable. Other times it's too low. Sometimes I want to be a little bit more lifted in the chest. So either coming to fists or all the way up to fingertips helps. that. It does give you a few inches. From here, gently shifting back, finding tabletop again. I'm going to take a few cows and cats. Getting a little deeper now into the movement. So my body starts to warm up and open up. Coming to a nice neutral spine, and then taking the left leg back. Follow the foot connected to the mat and gently pressing back into the heel. And doing gentle shifts of weight forward on an inhale. Nice stretch through the toes, and then exhaling, pressing back. One more time. And coming back to neutral, lifting up that back leg, and then gently stepping it through, finding the lunge on the second side. And from here, we're going to gently shift it back. I'm going to find my way into plank. Sitting here for a few breaths. And actually from here, I think I'll take a side plank. So I'm going to keep the torso stable by making sure that there is some tension between the ribs and the hip. So I'm not sucking in and pulling in deeply, it's just enough stabilization, enough energy in the core so that the spine won't spiral as I move into it. So first things first, I shift my weight into the left hand, the right hand comes to the waist, and then I rotate so I'm on the edges of my feet. From here, coming back to regular plank. And I'll switch to the other side. Weight into the right hand, left to the waist, and then rotate. Coming back. And I take child's pose. I think I might do another inversion free, if you will. It's fun to explore how to do the yoga poses, the asana, without folding forward. It's actually a nice challenge, I think, because so many of the poses are upside down. You have down dog, you have the standing forward fold, and it is quite a challenge to try to keep the head above the heart. And there's more people out there than you think that don't like to go upside down. There are a whole bunch of people who love it, and I'm not saying anything against them because sometimes it is fun to be upside down. There's a population of people out there that don't like it and can't do it. Alright, so from here, I'm just going to simply walk it forward and lift halfway up. And then exhale, bend the legs. And I'm going to keep my spine active here, nice and long, and I still feel a nice stretch through the hamstrings here. And I straighten the legs. Well, I'll change that. Keep the right leg straight, left is bent, and give a nice opening here. And I'll let this arm drop back behind me as far as it wants to go. And then bringing it back. And switching to the other side. it back, and I'm going to go back and forth a few times. One more time. I'm going to get that left side in. Reverse swan dive here, pressing through the feet. And then exhale, hands come to the heart. Inhale, swooping up. Exhale, hands come to the heart. And I'm going to take my right leg, step it back so that I turn towards the side edge of the mat. Whoa! Finding my balance on 2 feet. Funny how that goes. Keeping my legs in a natural rotation. I'm going to take some, the yogis will know this as goddess, my dancers will know this as a grand plie. But I'm going to do my best here to keep the torso stacked, so shoulders over the hips, and the hips stay between the heels. My feet are wide enough so that I can bend and bring the legs to roughly 90. We don't want the hips to go below the knees because then you give a little bit more strain on the knee joint, and that's not good. So I'm going to start with the arms up in a nice star position, and then exhale, bend. And I'm going to go shallow to start. Inhaling as I lift up and extend. And exhale, pull it all together and bend the legs. Inhaling, extending. And exhaling, bending. And here, one more time. I'm going to bring my forearms down, give a little stretch from side to side here. So from here, I'm going to bring my weight over to the right leg. My heel's going to come up, hands come down. I'm going to straighten the left leg and bring it to whatever my natural rotation is today, so that my hips stay side by side, and I'm actually sitting on this right heel. Then you're gonna side lunge. Now I do feel a bit of a stretch here in the inner thigh, and that's what I was looking for. If you're practicing with me, you can practice a balance, if that's where you're at right now. Apparently I'm not. Or you can take a forward fold, but just be mindful if you're not doing inversions that you keep your torso and your spine on a diagonal. So you can shift so that the pelvis moves back, so you're sticking your tail out, and you will feel more sensation through that left leg. If you have any props with you, those are helpful here. You can bring them underneath the hands. So from here, I'm going to come back up. This leg does not want to bend. We're gonna make it bend a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna slide it in. Bring the foot in and gently shift to the other side. So my weight is now on the left. Left sit bone to the left heel, right leg is straight. And either finding the balance here, if that's where you're at. I don't know if I'm ready for a balance yet. Or sticking the tail out behind you and getting more of a stretch through that right inner thigh. And the dogs are trolling on me again outside. You may hear them playing a little bit. If you hear growling or barking, they're outside playing. So from here, I'm going to come back up to neutral. I'm going to turn myself and step it back. finding my plank. And I ease my way down onto the belly. I'm gonna rest in crocodile for a few breaths. So stacking the hands underneath the forehead, and I'm gonna make fists just so that my head is a little bit higher. Being mindful that the back of the neck is not crunched, it's still nice and long. And laying in stillness sometimes gives you the opportunity to feel what's going on in your body. And this is what I'm doing at the moment, so that I can listen to know what to do next. And this is part of the journey of doing a home practice. It's being able to listen and know what your body needs. So I'm going to come a little higher into Sphinx. Lower body is relaxed, energized from the belly upward. Arms are at 90 degrees, pressing the hands down. So I'm going to lower back down here and take a little bit of a quad stretch to get the legs and the back going. So right foot, gently pulling it in, and then make sure there's no space here underneath the hip. You want to press that down into the mat. For less intensity, you can drop the head. For more intensity, you can prop up on your elbow. And gently releasing that, switching to the other side. Good, so from here I'm going to work my back a little bit because now I want to move into bow pose, but I don't think that the back is ready yet. So I'm going to do a series of cobras. If you've taken any live classes with me, like live in person at Salt House here in Sri Lanka, or if you have taken a few of my online classes, you know that I like to use the hands out. I'm going to call them Spider-Man hands, for lack of a better term. So we start with the fingertips on top of the shoulders, on the floor itself, in front of the mat. So relaxing the lower body, inhaling, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders. And then exhaling down. The elbows don't have to come straight. If they do, it's fine. Inhale, lifting up. And exhaling, lowering. And moving them out a little bit so that they're in line with the corners of your mats. Inhaling, lifting up. And exhale, lower. When I go up, I'm really trying to lift my ribs out of my waist. Same thing again. Hands come now in line with the shoulders, but outside of the mat, still on fingertips. One more time. Good morning, fingertips. That felt interesting. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take a locust pose with the hands connected in the back, so interlacing the fingers. I'm going to inhale and lift up. So this is a little different. It's less stretch in the front of the body and more activation through the spinal muscles and the glutes and the hamstrings. And then exhaling, lowering down, stacking the hands and resting for a breath. Move through that one more time, interlacing the fingers, inhaling, lifting up for a nice locust pose. And releasing down, Stacking the hands, staying for a few breaths. Alright, so now moving into bow pose. If this isn't your jam, if you don't like this, if your shoulders hurt or hurts your back, do locust again. Gently releasing, coming back into crocodile pose. Oh, yes. So from here, we're going to windshield wiper the legs, bending at the knees, and letting them go in the same direction, left to right, right to left. Bring the legs back to neutral, hands under the shoulders, engage the belly as you lift up, so it's not all upper body strength. Remember that stability from the side plank, it's the same thing. Stay in your tabletop. And I'm actually going to move into a variation of a downward facing dog. But as I said, I don't want to be upside down, so I'm going to move the camera so that you can see me. I'm going to use my windowsill here, which has bars on it. And I'm going to bring my hands to about, well, a little bit lower than that. All right, so once I walk my legs out, right, so now you see the arm placement. I'll change the camera back away so that you can see the whole body. Oops. Sorry about that. Much better. Okay, so I'm holding onto the windowsill and I'm just gently lengthening. If you're not worried about the head going below the heart, you can always drop your head through. This will stretch through the spine, but I'm going to keep it nice and long here. And you can bend the legs here to get a little more length in the spine. Just be careful that you're not overly arching the back. You want the back to be nice and long. So you get the benefits of down dog without being upside down. And you can do this against the wall, you can use a countertop, you can use a chair. Just make sure the chair isn't light so that when you lean on it, it falls over. That would not be fun. I'm getting a nice stretch through the backs of the legs here. And sometimes I bend the knees just for a little extra. Re-engage the legs. So from here, I'm going to walk the hands and gently come upright and shake it out. So from here, I'm just going to bring my feet together. I'm going to come into a squat, come down to the mat, and gently sit. So I'm really feeling like I want the inner thighs to open today, so I'm going to move myself into a nice straddle. Sitting up nice and tall. I am at pretty much my widest, but if you're not into that, it's fine. You go wherever you can go. And I take an easy fold from here. And I say easy because I'm going into it gently. I'm not just dropping, I'm easing in and using my breath. You see a little more inner thigh opening. And notice where you might be holding tension here. It's okay to have a little bit in the ankles to keep the toes upright. So there's a little bit more alignment work going on. But you don't want to be gripping and tensing to the point where it's rigid. You still want the inner thighs, behind the knees, the hamstrings to be able to relax and open. And as the sensation changes, if it gets easier for you, you can start to tilt the pelvis back, that'll get more inner thigh. You can walk your hands forward. It's all about the subtleties. What can you find that's different today? And one leg generally feels a little bit different in the stretch than the other. At least that's true for me. So I'm not sure about everybody else out there, but our legs do tell different stories. All right, so from here, I'm gonna walk myself about halfway up, keeping the chest pointing down towards the floor. I'm gonna give a little bit of a rotation to the side, keeping the right hip down and reaching the right arm across. Oh, dear me. Oh, yes. So this opens up the entire right side of the body. And again, I'm trying to keep my head lifted. I don't want to drop it down to overstretch the back of my neck. So depending on your body, you may feel this through the ribs, the waist, all the way down to that right hip, and you may feel more intensity on this left leg. From here, I'm going to keep the torso parallel to the ground. I'm going to ease my way through the middle and walk over to the right. So my left hand is going to come across, and I'm putting my right arm wherever it needs to be supportive. So on this side, it needs to be the outside of the leg. Oh my. Nice, easy, gentle breaths. Notice where you might be gripping in the body. See if you can let that go. Then gently walking it back through center. And coming up to vertical. I'm actually going to tilt the pelvis back a little bit. This gives a little bit of relief through the legs. There's one more thing I'm going to do in this straddle position. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. And actually, I think I'm going to bring my legs in just a touch. I don't want to be so intense on the legs this early in the morning. I'm going to take a side stretch now so that it's less lower back. And sitting up nice and tall, and you can actually, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look up against the wall. So the back of my pelvis is up against the wall, so is my spine. And I'm going to do my best to keep it somewhat connected to the wall. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, side bend. We'll see how far it wants to go today. That seems to be about it. So I'm using my right hand to anchor the hip and the thigh down so it doesn't sneak up off the mat. I'm trying to keep my neck long here so that the ear doesn't connect to the shoulder. We want space there. And my left elbow is dropping down towards the mat. Sometimes in these stretches, you really don't have to go far to feel it. Very slowly and gently coming back up through vertical. I'm going to stay here until my waistline decides it wants to settle down. And then move on over to the other side. Keeping the back connected to the wall. Easing your way into that side bend. So normally, I would say come up at this point, but I'm actually, this side is taking a little bit longer to open up. So I'm going to stay here for a few more breaths, but if you are practicing with me and you're ready to come up, go ahead. to stay vertical for a few breaths. From here, I'm going to use my hands on the legs and bring them together. Giving a little bit of a shake here. And I hear Zeus. Let's see if my trick works. Nope, he went right around it. Here he comes. Hi, buddy. Hi. Oh, kisses in the ears. Okay. Hi. I know. Oh, I know. Good kisses. Boom. Can you sit down? Oh. That's the end of that. Oh, he got my ear all wet. Gross. Oh, he's coming back. Hi, buddy. Oh, yes. With all the force in the world. Can you sit? You can't sit today. All right. So from here, I'm going to just gently close the legs, move myself away from the wall a little bit, and give a little rotation. And if you have time for a Shavasana today, go for it. Take a few moments in Shavasana. I'm going to sign off for now with my buddy Zeus. I know. Now I got the other ear too. So I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place. So I hope to see you then. Bye.